Hey, everybody, welcome to What's Up Wednesday. I like to revisit a topic that I know I've talked about in the past, but again, I think it's probably a worthwhile topic for a revisit, and that topic is technology. Now, I hear on a pretty regular basis from people that, I'm not a computer person or I don't like all that technology stuff. I'm simple. I do things, the old-fashioned way with a pen and paper and a planner, etc. And the reality is that our safety profession is ever changing. And I would say just in general, the construction profession, even though we work outside of construction, a lot of our work is in construction. And I know that over the years, things have changed so tremendously much. When I first started out, it seemed that a lot of the construction superintendents I would work with, they actually had tool bags in the trailer, and they came up through the ranks as a carpenter or a laborer, or maybe another trade, and worked their way up into a superintendent role. And now more and more, I see the majority of the superintendents coming out of construction management programs. They're very technology savvy, and they don't spend nearly the time in the field that they once did. And they certainly don't have tools. They don't work on tools ever. So, when I look at that, the safety profession has evolved a lot the same way. And I always say there are safety professionals, and then there are safety people or field safety people. And when I look at the oil and gas industry as an example, there are a lot of field only roles where somebody's job is to stand and observe people working in a quadrant of a refinery or a chemical plant during a turnaround or during construction. And, there may be other duties like permit writing or safety attendant like type of duties. But really, to be a true safety professional, I think that people have to have the tools of the trade. They have to be prepared. And much like a carpenter has a tool belt with a hammer and a level and a tape measure and other items, I think that a safety professional has a tool belt as well. And the tools include a cell phone. I think everybody has to have a smartphone. And ideally, you can get email on your smartphone, and you can download apps that can do a lot of things. You have a camera, you can take pictures, and you have a hotspot so that you can actually connect remotely or wirelessly to Wi-Fi on another device, such as an iPad or a computer. The second piece of that toolkit, I think, would be a laptop computer, generally a laptop computer. Some people use desktops, but more often than not, we have something portable now so we can move it wherever we're working. Makes it much easier than packing up a monitor and a desktop box and everything else that goes with it. So those are kind of the hardware tools that we need as a safety professional. And it's amazing how often I hear somebody say, well, I don't have a laptop, or I don't have Microsoft Office 365. I mean, that's another thing with a laptop computer is you need to have an Office suite of programs. And it used to be that when you bought a computer, when you bought a laptop, you would buy a subscription to Microsoft Office. But that has changed now. We don't so much go out and just buy a subscription. We subscribe to Office 365 on an annual or a monthly rate basis. And with that, we can download the software. It automatically updates in the background, so we don't need to be worrying about doing manual updates. And we get all the Office suite of programs. So we get Word, Excel, PowerPoint, PageMaker, Microsoft Outlook for email on your desktop. It really makes our job so much easier. And again, it's a simple subscription. So a smartphone, a laptop computer with Office 365. I think that those are key to our role. The other thing I would say is, especially for those of you who do project work or you kind of move around from job to job a lot more, it's really good to have the apps that employers use on your phone. So again, if you have 365 Microsoft, you also get Microsoft Teams with that. But in addition to that, a lot of companies use Zoom. I would say Zoom's probably the number one video program, that and Teams. And then there are a lot of other peripherals, BlueJeans, Google Meets, GoToMeeting, WebEx, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. There are a lot of different platforms that different companies use to communicate via video. But I can't tell you how often we want to set up an orientation or we want to have a face-to-face meeting with somebody via Zoom or Teams, and that safety professional doesn't have the technology set up and they don't have the ability to communicate, or they have technical problems and they're unable to be able to communicate with us via some kind of a video platform. So it's really important, get a free Zoom account, download the app on your laptop computer and on your phone. It doesn't cost you anything and you're set to go. You can use, again, your phone or your laptop with a Wi-Fi connection to do any kind of a video meeting. Same thing with Microsoft Teams. You can download the app on your Android or your iPhone, and it will download with Office on your computer. So I really think that we need to have those tools in place, because as much as some people want to resist being technology savvy, it's really key that we continue to evolve with the industry. The days of walking around with a notepad and making observations related to safety or otherwise are being replaced with different types of programs and systems where we can document that real time on a smartphone into a server and have everything data logged and databased in while we're taking pictures as we walk around with our phone. So, again, we have to evolve, because if we don't, then I can tell you from a marketing standpoint, it'll be harder and harder to find jobs and get hired, because employers are looking for people who are very comfortable technologically and have the basic tools in place. I can tell you that there's probably nothing more embarrassing than being invited to a video interview for a job and you show up late or you're unable to connect because of technical problems. The employer right away has red flags. And it may be that that Zoom is doing a program update. So I always recommend that if you have a video interview, which are very common now, usually it's phone, video, then in person, or even skip the in-person, make sure that you arrive to that meeting 10 minutes early. Make sure you work out any technical issues and you're ready to rock and roll. And on another note, when it comes to that type of interviewing, even though we are remote in a more casual environment, dress for the job, dress for the interview. Do not show up in a wrinkled t-shirt, have a button-up shirt, look professional. I cannot tell you how often I see that. That's not related to technology, but it's a tip that I want to share. So hopefully you find this helpful. If you have questions, drop us a note, and we'll see you as always next Wednesday.